The day before we arrived in Santa Fe, they had a late-season snowfall that dumped 2 inches of snow in Santa Fe and a foot or more in some of the higher elevations. There were still some patches of snow when we got there, but it quickly melted. We stayed at the Inn of the Governors, a nice friendly place. Each afternoon they served tea and sherry. This gave us the opportunity to relax and meet and talk to other guests at the hotel. One afternoon we met a couple and we wound up going to dinner with them. Terry managed to get our room upgraded, so we stayed in the Governor's wing. Incidentally, they decorated the inn with dried flowers, a perfect solution for a climate with cold winters and dry summers. Santa Fe is an interesting city. It is the oldest capital city in the United States and all of North America for that matter. It is home to the oldest church, the oldest public building, and the oldest home in America. Santa Fe was founded in 1610, 10 years before the Mayflower landed at Plymouth Rock. The plaza in Santa Fe is the original center of the city. The plaza is surrounded on 3 sides by shops, hotels, and restaurants, and on the 4th side by the Palace of Governors, the oldest public building in the United States. Today, the palace houses the New Mexico Museum of History. Out on the sidewalk in front of the Palace of the Governors, many Indian artisans sell their wares, primarily jewelry and other handmade items. Early each morning, these artisans show up to draw lots for the space they will be allowed to use. The monument in the center of the plaza commemorates the history of Santa Fe. There are dozens of museums in Santa Fe, including the Palace of the Governors, the New Mexico Museum of Art, the Institute of American Indian Arts Museum, and the Georgia O'Keeffe Museum, to name a few. What strikes you about Santa Fe today is the art, the churches, and the architecture. According to some, Santa Fe is second only to New York as the largest art market in the country. There are over 250 art galleries in the city, truly amazing for a city of 70,000 people. The galleries have everything from very serious art to the more mundane, such as the Chuck Jones Gallery. As you may recall, Chuck Jones was the animator for Warner Brothers, who created such characters as Bugs Bunny, Porky Pig, and Daffy Duck. This gallery not only has exhibitions of Jones's art, but it also has works by several other unusual artists, including Dr. Seuss. Dr. Seuss, of course, is famous for writing and illustrating such children's books as Cat in the Hat and Green Eggs and Ham. But he also created many additional works of art that he requested to remain secret as long as he was alive. After his death in 1956, his estate began releasing only 4 paintings a year from his secret collection, thus creating a real demand for his paintings and prints. Works of art can be seen all over Santa Fe, but the greatest concentration of art galleries in the city can be found along Canyon Road, just southeast of the plaza. Santa Fe has interesting architecture not because of the variety, but because of the consistency. A city ordinance requires all new buildings, both residential and commercial, to be built in one of 2 styles: the Adobe Pueblo style or the territorial style. The territorial style can be distinguished by the rows of red brick along the roof line. During the 1800s, people in the wealthy section of the city began constructing their homes with red brick. Shipping red brick to Santa Fe was quite expensive and not everyone could afford it. What you see here looks like a typical red brick home, but if you look closer, you will see it is actually red walls with white mortar lines painted in. Despite the similar architecture seen in Santa Fe, you do occasionally see some interesting architectural features, such as this stairway, or this one, these old doors, this bell, even this old broken wagon wheel on the roof of a business. Santa Fe is a city of churches. While we were there, the Cathedral Basilica of St. Francis of Assisi was covered by plastic and scaffolding as it was undergoing restoration of its exterior, but we were able to see the interior. The front doors, made of bronze, reminded us of doors we'd seen on churches in Europe. If you look closely at this statue of St. Francis, you will see he has his dog next to him. We thought this sign was interesting in that it states your tax-deductible dollars at work. The cathedral was built between 1869 and 1886 by Archbishop Jean-Baptiste Lamy. It was upgraded to a basilica in 2005. The day we left Santa Fe, we read in a newspaper that the plastic and scaffolding obscuring the exterior was removed the following day. The Loretto Chapel is the site of the miraculous staircase. The church was completed in 1878 as a chapel for a school operated by the Sisters of Loretto. The sisters soon realized there were no stairs leading to the balcony and no room for a conventional stairway. One day, a mysterious carpenter arrived and agreed to build the sisters a spiral staircase. He spent about 6 months building the staircase, but when the sisters went to pay him, the carpenter had disappeared, never to be seen again. The staircase he built has two 360-degree turns and no visible means of support. The handrail was added later. Here is a picture of what the staircase looked like before the handrail was added. The oldest church building in the United States is San Miguel Mission. Originally completed in 1628, it has been added to and repaired several times. At one time it had a 3-tiered bell tower as seen in this early photograph. The bell tower was destroyed in 1872 by the combination of an earthquake and a windstorm. At that point, the church did not have enough money to make the repairs, and they talked about tearing the church down. But word quickly spread, and the citizens of Santa Fe raised the necessary funds to make the repairs. Today, the original bell sits inside the chapel. Nearby the San Miguel Mission sits the oldest house in America. It was constructed in the 1640s. Southeast of downtown Santa Fe is the Cristo Rey Church, founded in the 1940s. It is believed to be the largest adobe structure in the world. When they built the church, someone remembered a stone altar screen that had been removed from a church that once stood near the plaza. No one knew where this altar screen had been placed, so they began a search and eventually found the screen in the basement of a building on the plaza. It had been cut into 3 pieces. These pieces were transported by wagon to the new church where it was reassembled. The stone altar screen is hand-carved and depicts various figures in religious history. The Chapel of Our Lady of Guadalupe was founded in 1795 and is dedicated to Our Lady of Guadalupe, the patron saint of Mexico. The church is believed to be the oldest shrine to the Virgin of Guadalupe in the United States. One of the problems with all buildings in Santa Fe being built in the same style is that it is often difficult to tell the age of a given building. This pretty church is the First Presbyterian Church of Santa Fe. While the church is over 140 years old, the present church building was built in 1939. A few miles north of Santa Fe is El Santuario de Chamayo. As the story goes, sometime around 1810, a friar saw a beam of light coming out of the ground. He went to the source of the light and began digging until he found a crucifix. He gave the crucifix to a local priest who took it to a church in Las Cruces. A few days later, the crucifix had disappeared, only to be found back in the hole where it had been dug up. It was taken back to the church in Las Cruces, and again it disappeared, turning up once again in the hole. When this happened a third time, they decided to build a small chapel on the site. Soon word began to spread about this miracle. In order to handle the crowds coming to the chapel, a new larger church was built in 1816. Today, many pilgrims come to the mission for healing. The hole where the crucifix was found can be viewed in a small room off to the side of the sanctuary. As you exit the chapel, you pass by many crutches, wheelchairs, and other medical devices left by people who have been healed. On our third day in Santa Fe, we rented a car and took a day trip. One of our first destinations was Bandelier National Monument. The cliff dwellings in Bandelier were settled around 1150 AD by the Anasazi Indians. The adobe buildings provided them shelter as well as protection from other tribes. It also provided quick access to water and farmland in nearby Frijoles Creek, where they raised corn, beans, and other crops. The Anasazi left this area in the 1400s, although no one knows for sure why. Archaeologists speculate that resources may have become scarce. Most of the Native Americans and pueblos around Santa Fe are believed to be descendants of the Anasazi. While most of the dwellings are now in ruins, it is easy to see the holes in the rocks where poles were inserted to support second and third stories of these pueblos. Caves were carved in the soft rock made by the volcanic ash. Throughout the site you can see many petroglyphs, literally stone writings. Some of them are very faint now and are hard to see. This photograph has been enhanced to bring out the detail of the petroglyph. Here you can see a petroglyph that has been preserved behind a sheet of plexiglass. These are some of the examples of the interesting rock formations seen in Bandelier National Monument. At the Visitor Center are several buildings built during the 1930s by the CCCs, the Civilian Conservation Corps. These structures are believed to be the oldest remaining buildings built by the CCCs. My dad was in a CCC work crew in northern New Mexico in the 1930s, but he apparently did not work on any buildings in Bandelier. Another attraction on our day trip was the Shadoni Foundry. Here sculptures in bronze, stainless steel, and other metals are cast for artists from all over the world. The Shadoni Foundry is only one of 2 foundries in the United States that can handle large-scale castings. They have several acres at the foundry where many sculptures from a variety of artists are exhibited. This is our guide Peter, who took us on a tour of Santa Fe. When we weren't sightseeing, we spent our time shopping, or drinking, or eating, or waiting to eat. We really enjoyed our time in Santa Fe and can't wait to go back again.